Hello again. Now we're going to talk about annotated bibliography summary writing. All right, I've been receiving some questions from you about how exactly to go about this. So please watch this video and hopefully this clarifies some of the questions that you have. We're talking about summary writing specifically for your annotated bibliography, but these principles of summary writing really apply to anything that you need to summarize. Okay. I'm going to post a link to the video that is linked here as well. I'd like you to watch it. It's pretty funny. Try to paraphrase what Paula Abdul was saying in the video. She really struggled to put a sentence together. I'm sure you'd be able to paraphrase it in a more concise manner if you can understand what she was trying to say in the first place. I want to clarify the differences between paraphrasing, summarizing, and quoting. Paraphrasing is intended to be about the same length as the original text. So if it's a one-page document and you're paraphrasing it, then what you create should also be about a one-page document. Whereas summarizing is condensing. So maybe you have a 10-page document and you are explaining the key points in something as short as half a page, 200 words, something like that. And quoting is copying and pasting the original phrase from the person who said it or wrote it in the first place, and giving credit to the person who said or wrote it in the first place. These three things cannot be done without understanding the person or situation in the first place. What is an annotated bibliography? Again, for the purpose of our assignment, it's a series of sources, in this case 5 journal articles, that include descriptions of each text. You will be writing about 100 to 250 words for each summary, and the descriptions include the summary and the assessment of the text's value. There were specific questions that I asked in the outline document explaining what you're supposed to be doing for this assignment. And then, of course, the annotated bibliography has alphabetical referencing in proper APA style. I will be recording a lecture about APA style again for those of you who were not in class before or are still a little bit hesitant about using APA style. So how exactly are we supposed to do this? Step-by-step instructions on creating your annotated bibliography. So step 1, you want to select articles that are specifically related to your topic and your focus. They need to be studies. If you are simply searching for single words on the library database, you will have too many results to sift through. So you need to use several keywords when you're searching for journal articles. Look for headings like methods and discussion to make sure that they are studies that have been conducted. Step 2, take notes while reading. Use those strategies that we talked about at the beginning of the semester. Step 3, Google OWL Purdue APA. On the left-hand side, click on Reference List, Articles and Periodicals. Follow the first template and cite your source. If you have difficulty with step 3, please let me know and I can record a little screencast of how to do that as well. Step 4, write your summary according to the assignment guidelines. Remember, I asked specific questions that I want you to answer by locating information in the original study and paraphrasing, so you're writing it in your own words. Okay. Step 5, order the references and descriptions alphabetically according to the author's last name. If you have several authors, you're looking at the first author's last name and basing your alphabetical order on that. Okay, and then step 6, add a title page in proper APA format. Again, I'll be posting a separate video looking specifically at title page format and page format in general when using APA. Summary strategies. Use the summary criteria as your guide when you are reading. All right, use the information outlined in this presentation and in the assignment instructions as you're reading so that you're looking for answers to those specific questions. When you find an answer, highlight it, underline, whatever strategy works best for you, and then write a note in the margin. If you don't have a printer at home, then try to find time to hop over to the library or, computer lab on campus and print there, then go home and highlight. Focus on the key details. Use those critical thinking and reading skills that we've learned this semester, but be sure that you're paraphrasing and not plagiarizing. Again, if you're using one of those web tools, paraphrasing tools, where it automatically populates synonyms for sentences from the original text, that still counts as plagiarism. You have to be able to write the sentences yourself and not rely on Google Translate or a paraphrasing tool to do the writing for you, because again, this is English class and I have to grade you on your ability to write, not your ability to copy and paste through web apps that do the rewriting for you. Okay, speaking of plagiarism, I'll just remind you again, Cambrian College's plagiarism policy, again, it's nothing personal, it's just if someone plagiarizes, I automatically have to forward that to my supervisor and she will decide what happens next. So first offense, 0 on that specific test or assignment. Second offense, because your faculty are not communicating with each other about when this happens, it's just recorded in a central database of how many offenses each student has accumulated. So if it is the second offense, regardless of which subject or course it's from, it's an automatic 0 for the entire course. And then third offense, the student caught cheating, regardless of what subject was involved, will automatically be suspended from all college programs or courses for 2 years. So fairly severe consequences to plagiarism. Okay, let's get back to the description. The descriptive part that you're writing for your annotated bibliography, you want to locate the answers to these questions. Okay, so first of all, start with the basic text information for talking about the study. So you want to talk about who the authors were, what was the title of the study, what year was it conducted in, and briefly describe the major idea of the study. What is your topic, right? Why was this particular research done? You'll find this in the introduction section or the abstract, okay? The reason behind conducting the study. What is the research question or hypothesis? This one might be a little bit trickier to paraphrase. So for this one, I will allow you to directly quote it. It is simply one sentence though, okay? One sentence, you can put in direct quotations and then put an in-text citation afterward, stating the author's name and year of publication. I will do a demo video to help you with that step. Next question, what was the methodology used to collect data? Qualitative, quantitative, right? All of those terms that we've been studying together. You will find that information in the methods section. Then you're going to look in the discussion section to find what the major findings of the study were. And then the recommendations. By recommendations, I mean based on the knowledge that they gathered after conducting the study, what do they recommend going forward? So what should other researchers consider in future studies? What would they have done differently in hindsight? How would they reconstruct the study differently, knowing what they know now, right? So what are the recommendations? And what are the text strengths and weaknesses? So this is the only section where you include your opinion, okay? When answering this question, it's your own opinion, but you can usually find some ideas or hints in the methods and limitations sections, if there is a limitation section. This limitation section may in fact be worked into the discussion or conclusion, depending on how large of a limitation it was. Okay? So how should I write the description? It needs to be objective. By objective, I mean you're not including your own personal opinions. Okay? Third person, you are focusing on the researchers, the scientists, and not you. All right? So write things like the study suggests, or you could use the author's last name. You want to distance yourself from the study as much as possible because you were not one of the people who conducted the research in the first place. So again, we're always trying to give credit to the people who did the work instead of wording it in a way that could be interpreted that you were one of the researchers or scientists involved in the first place. You're summarizing, and by summarizing, you are distancing yourself from it. So be succinct, specific, and use direct language. Let's talk about objectivity. You want to avoid writing phrases like, people have too much body fat. You still don't want to say, some people have too much body fat, because both of these can sound like your personal opinions, okay? Refer back to the study to avoid sounding subjective, right? The study indicates people have too much body fat. That's better, all right? But we could be more specific than that because we have specific phrases, numbers. The findings indicate 62% of the study participants qualified as morbidly obese according to Health Canada's body mass index. So we're looking at the standards and the yardstick, right? Measuring what exactly does too much body fat mean? No, let's talk about morbidly obese according to Health Canada's body mass index. So we have a specific unit of measurement. Phrases like too much, a lot of, not enough, good and bad, that's not objective, right? Be more specific using the information that was included in the study. Facts. When you are talking about your opinions of something, you want to avoid informal language, of course. The author sucked. No, let's not say something like that. We still don't want to say the article was boring to read. Yeah, that's probably true for most academic studies you'll encounter. They are pretty boring to read. What's better? The authors did not collect accurate information. Okay, if I read this sentence, I'm still going to have questions. Why did they not collect accurate information? If it's not accurate, why did you bother summarizing it, right? Best, let's be more specific. The methods the authors used to collect their data had many flaws. They only surveyed men. Here we go. This is a fact, and it is more specific, more helpful. Third person. Again, remove yourself from the summary. I. No, we don't need to use I at all. Let's talk about third person. The article had many weaknesses. Okay, so in APA style academic writing, it's about the research. It is not about you. So lead with the research and try to demonstrate that you are distancing yourself by avoiding using the pronoun I. Don't use me or my, right? Talk about the article, the authors, the research. Past tense. The authors conduct surveys to determine technology usage among college students. No, we want this to be past tense. The authors conduct it. It's all finished. It's all in the past. Okay? The results showed. All of your verbs should be past tense. Here are some examples of phrases. You might want to pause this here. Avoid these phrases. Instead, use the concise replacement. You may feel inclined to use more wordy expressions. This does not make for better writing in academic journal writing. You want to be concise. Don't use wordy expressions. APA in-text citations. Let's talk about paraphrasing. If you are looking at option 1 in the parenthesis, you need the author's name and the year of publication. It says date of publication, but just the year is enough. Okay, so Jones, last name, 2011. Option number 2, you can fit the author's name into your sentence. According to Jones, and then brackets 2011, obesity among children has risen over the past few years. As long as the author's name and the year of publication are both contained within that sentence, it's okay. What if you have more than one author? If you have 2 authors, you're going to put the last names. Again, do not include first names in these brackets, only last names. So Jones and Williams, comma, 2011. If you have 3 to 5 authors, then this is how you would do this. Okay? 6 or more authors, Jones et al., use this automatically. You will be including the other authors' names on your reference page, or sorry, in the top reference at the top of your page, right? But the bracket itself in the text, in the paragraph that you're writing, would just look like this.